seen what is BPSK or binary phase shift keying and how we can transmit one bit of data, that means one bit at a time, using these modulation techniques. So everything was same in the process, but we have introduced only the modulation block in the communication block diagram. And in this modulation block diagram, the type of modulation technique that we use will give us the number of bits that we transmit at each time instant. Okay, so in binary phase shift keying, we transmitted one bit at a time, uh, and we have also seen how it can be generated, how BPSK signal can be generated, and how it can be received in the BPSK generation and reception block diagram. We have also seen the signal space diagram and how these two message points, that means 0 and 1, is represented in the signal space diagram. So today we'll start with another modulation technique, which will show us the way to transmit 2 bits of data at a time. That means in previous class we have sent a symbol which consists of 1 bit. Today we will see that using the same phase shifting method, how we can transmit 2 bits of data at a time. So instead of sending 1 bit at a time, I will send 2 bits of data at a time. So today we will start, and this method is known as quadri-phase shift keying or QPSK. So quadri-phase means we are going to use four phases. In binary phase shift keying, we use two phases. One is 0 degree and another is 180 degree. In quadri-phase shift keying, we'll be using four phase to represent four symbols. Okay, now why four symbols? So since we are transmitting 2 bits at a time, so the combination becomes 0 0. So we are going to transmit 0 0, then 0 1, 1 0, and 1 1. Okay, so these are the four symbols that I'm going to transmit at a time. So I'm sending 2 bits at a time, and when I'm transmitting 2 bits at a time, I'm getting a combination of four symbols. Okay, so that means I am transmitting four symbols. This is the first symbol, second symbol, third symbol, fourth symbol. So I'm going to transmit these four symbols. So to represent the first symbol, I need a phase. To represent the second symbol, I need another phase. To represent third symbol, I need another phase. To represent fourth signal, I need another phase. So that means to transmit four symbols where there are 2 bits are represented in the symbol, we need four different phases. Okay, so that's why, since we need four different phases, so it is known as quadriphase. So the term quadri means four. So quadriphase means four phase. So we will use four different phase and we'll shift the symbols. So that is known as quadriphase shift key. Okay. So I hope this part is clear. It will be more clear as we proceed. So now let me clear this. Okay. So as I have said, so we will be using four phases. Now the four phase being pi by 4, 3 pi by 4, 5 pi by 4, and 7 pi by 4. So if you have a circle like this, if you have a circle like this, right, and if you divide it into four quadrants, so the signal that you will get four. Now what I am doing, I am dividing into pi by 4 or 45-degree angle. So what I am getting these four quadrants. Okay, so this is one quadrant, this is one quadrant, this is one quadrant, and this is one quadrant. And now now what I will do, I will place them the messages in these four quadrants. Okay, so instead of you can also do in another method also. You can take different phases, but these phases should be uh, at a distance of 45 degree to each other. Okay, so these are the phases that we'll be using. We'll be using pi by 4, 3 pi by 4, 5 pi by 4, and 7 pi by 4 to represent four different symbols. Okay, so let us proceed. So if I am going to use these four different phases, so let me first write that if I am going to represent them, then what should be the equation that we can define this four symbol. Right? So for this set of values, we can use this equation in this manner. Now, if you compare the equation, so what? See the equation first. The equation says under 2e by t cos 2 pi f c t plus 2I minus 1 pi by 4. Now, if you remember the binary phase shifting, I had represented under root 2 e by t cos 2 pi f c t once, and for second signal I have represented under root 2 e by t cos 2 pi f c t plus pi. Okay, but since here I have four phases and I have to represent four phases, so the generalized equation becomes this. Now here if you see what are the values of I am sending four symbols, so the value of I will go from 1 2 3 4. So when I'm transmitting, say the value of I is 1, so when I'm transmitting signal S1T, so I will put the value of I equals to 1. So if I put the value of I equals to 1, this will become 2 minus 1, which is nothing but pi by 4. Now, if I'm going to transmit the signal, say signal S2, so for S2, I need this phase 3 pi by 4. So I can replace I equals to 2 since I'm transmitting signal 2. So this becomes 2 into 2, 4 minus 1, 3. So it becomes 3 pi by 4. So this phase becomes 3 pi by 4. For symbol 3, that is S3T, the phase will be 5 pi by 4, and I will replace I with 3. So this becomes 2 into 3 equal to 6. 6 minus 1 equals to 5 pi by 4. Similarly, when I replace this with 4, it will become 7 pi by 4. So this is how I am getting four different symbols and four different signals with different phase values. I hope this equation is clear. Please respond to me if it is clear. Okay, so only for these values of I equal to 1 2 3 4 I will get this equation. For all other values of I, the signal will be 0. So I hope this portion is clear. Everyone, have you understood this? Okay, so now since I have got this equation, now then I can proceed to the next part. Okay, so as I have said you that these symbols will be 2 bits at a time. That means I will be sending 2 bits at a time. So we will set that unique die bit, and what I will do, I will represent them using the gray bits, okay, or gray code. So why I will use gray code? Because in any signal transmission, we can send 1 bit at a time, not all the bits at a time. So since I am sending this, so if you look into this um, gray codes of the binary symbols, if you see, we have 1 0. Now when I am sending next signal, it is only 1 bit changes compared to the first symbol. So this is the first symbol and this is your second symbol. If you compare these two symbols, you will see only 1 bit has changed. Now if you compare with the third symbol, then you will see only 1 bit has changed. Similarly, when you compare with the fourth symbol, you will see only 1 bit has changed. Now in the same thing, if you compare this fourth bit with the first bit, then also you will see only 1 bit has changed. Okay, so this is the beauty of the gray code. That's why what we have did, we have converted the binary symbols into gray codes, or binary code into gray code, and then I will send them or transmit them using the equation that I have derived. Okay, so I hope this portion is clear. uh, if not clear, then you can ask. So if it is clear, so I am just proceeding with the next slide. Okay. So that means now I am going to transmit 10000111, and I've also got the equation which represents these four symbols. So let me expand this equation. So since this is a generalized equation, so I will try and expand this equation. So I will expand this equation for the values of I equals to 1, 2, 3, 4. I will not consider this because this will be 0. Okay. So I will consider only the values of I equals to 1, 2, 3, 4, and I will expand this equation using the trigonometric identity. You all know it. So this we can consider as cos A plus B. So this cosine form which represent cos A plus B. So I will use this trigonometric identity of cos A plus B, and I will expand it. So when I expand it, I get this equation. Okay, so you can see what I have done. I have simply expanded and used the formula of cos A plus B. So so this gives me the formula. Okay, so expansion gives me this cos 2I minus 1 pi by 4 into cos 2 pi ct minus sin 2I minus 1 pi by 4 into sin 2 pi ct. I hope clear this portion, everyone. The expansion is clear. Anyone any doubt in this portion? Okay, so this is the general equation which represents QPSK. Fine. So now if you see in this part, this term, we can treat this as A and this term as B. So what happens? This equation is nothing like, this equation becomes as cos of A plus B, right? So this part becomes cos A plus B, and what we do, we expand cos A plus B using the trigonometric identity of cos A plus B. So when we expand this part, we can write it in this form. So cos A cos B minus sin A sin B. We know that cos A plus B is nothing but equals to cos A cos B minus sin A sin B. Fine. So we simply expand this part, and we have expanded in this form. So what we get? We get this equation cos 2I minus 1 pi by 4 into cos 2 pi of ct minus sin 2I minus 1 pi by 4 into sin 2 pi of ct. Okay. So this is what we are getting. Now if we look closely into these two equations, what we see cos 2 pi of ct and sin 2 pi of ct, and we see cos 2I minus 1 pi by 4 and sin 2I minus 1 pi by 4. So from this equation we make two observations very clear. Okay, so what we see, we have two different basis functions. Okay, two different basis function. If you see under root 2 by t cos 2 pi of ct, okay, and under root 2 by t sin 2 pi of ct. So we have two different basis function. One is under root 2 by t cos 2 pi of ct, another is under root 2 by t sin 2 pi of ct. So this represents two different basis functions or two different carrier signals, okay, which will be used to send four message symbols. Okay, so now if we compare, if you see what we have the value of m, that means message symbol, as 4, and number of basis functions n equals to 2. So here from this equation we can say that we have two basis functions. So which one is constant? Under root 2 by t cos 2 pi of ct is constant in this portion, and under root 2 by t sin 2 pi of ct is constant in this portion. Thus means these are the two basis functions which represent the signal under root e cos 2I minus 1 pi by 4 and under root e sin 2 minus 1 pi by 4. Are you getting me? See, this one, these are the two basis functions. These are the two carrier signals. And what is remaining? The remaining portion in this part, the remaining portion is under root e and the cosine of pi by 4, 2I minus 1 pi by 4. So I am simply writing pi by 4. Okay, having difficulty in writing with mouse pad, so you may understand. So this represent this signal or the symbols represented by cos 2i minus 1 pi by 4 into root e. And here we have minus under root e sine of the other time pi by 4. Okay, so this represents another message signal. Okay, and since we have I, the value of I goes from 1 2 3 4, so we can have 4 different symbols. Are you getting me? Is this clear? Is this portion clear? So this equation represents the message part, and this represents your basis function. Okay, so you are multiplying this message with the carrier, and you are doing the modulation. Is it clear, everyone? Have you understood? Everyone, have you understood? Okay, message part repeat. Okay, now see in this equation, I have taken under root 2 by t cos 2 pi fct. Okay, so this becomes here phi 1 under root 2 by t cos 2 pi fct. So what is remaining? The remaining part is under root e cos 2 I minus 1 pi by 4. Okay, so this is your message symbol, under root e cos 2i minus 1 pi by 4. Similarly, in this portion, I have taken under root 2 by t sine 2 pi fct as basis function phi 2. And what is remaining? The remaining portion is minus under root e sine 2i minus 1 pi by 4. So this represents your message signal or the sinusoidal signal which represent message, and this represents the carrier signal. Okay, I hope this is clear. Manojit, is it clear? Okay, fine. So let me proceed to the next part. So what we have so far, we have an equation from where we see there are 4 message symbols 0001 1011, and to represent these 4 message symbols we need only 2 basis functions. Okay, so that means in signal space we'll have 4 zones or 4 quadrants to represent 4 message symbols, and the basis functions will be phi 1 and phi 2. Okay, so let us go to the next part. So now, as I talked about, the basis functions was represented by under root 2 by t cos 2 pi fct. Similarly, here the symbols are represented by under root e cos 2i minus 1 pi by 4 minus under root e sine 2i minus 1 pi by 4. This already I have said you. So these are the 4 message points that we will get. Okay, so this is how we are characterizing. So since I was sending gray encoded bit, so we have 11010010, and 11 is represented by the basis phase pi by 4. It is represented by 3 pi by 4. It is represented by 5 pi by 4, 7 pi by 4. Okay, and since we have 2 message symbols, so the coordinates will be under root e by under root e by 2 plus under root e by 2. This will be clear when I show you the uh, signal space diagram. So this is how the signals are represented. So that means S11, S12, S21, S22. This is how we are going to represent it. Okay, so this is how we look into this symbol. So this is your signal space diagram, and this is basis function 1, this is basis function 2, and you see we have message points in the pi by 4. So if you can, this is 90 degree. Phi 1 and phi 2 both are orthogonal to each other, so they are 90 degree, set apart at 90 degree, and this becomes your pi by 4. This is your 3 pi by 4. This is your 5 pi by 4, and this is your 7 pi by 4. Okay, and so pi by 4 phase represents message point 1 1. 3 pi by 4 represents 0 1. 5 pi by 4 represents 0 0, and 7 pi by 4 represents 1 0. So after transmission in the receiving part, if any point appears in this zone, so automatically it will be considered as 1 1. If anything appears in this zone, automatically it will be considered as 0 1. If anything appears in this zone, it will be considered as or decided as 0 0. And if anything appears in this zone, it will be considered as 1 0. Clear? Any doubt? Any doubt? Okay, so I hope this portion is clear. Uh, Now let me go to now in practical situation. So what is happening in the practical situation? Let us see how we are sending this or how we are modulating this. So if you see in this, if you see in here in this table, I have written SI1 and SI2. Okay, so Si1 Si2, that means I am representing these two bits into different signals. So Si1 Si2, these are the two different coefficients or the two vectors representing the signal 1. So how I am doing this modulation? So I have 0 0 1 0 1 1. How I am modulating, how I am doing it? So to understand that, we go to this example. So what we take, this is the input data that I have, 0 1 1 0 1 0 0 0. Okay, this is the input sequence, binary sequence that we have. Now I had to transmit this using QPSK. That means I will transmit both the bits at a time. So what I will do, I will take this SI1 coefficient by the odd numbers. Okay, so I will divide this sequence into two parts, odd sequence and even sequence. So if I consider the odd sequence, so this becomes your odd. This is one, number 3, number 5, and number 7. So these are the odd numbers, odd number positions. So odd number positions are represented by SI1 coefficient, and what we get, see, odd number position, from odd number position 1 I get 0, from odd number position 3 I get 1, from odd number position 5 I get 1, from odd number position 7 I get 0. So these are the odd sequences. Okay, and what I do, I multiply odd sequences with basis function phi 1 t. Now what is basis function phi 1 t? Basis function phi 1 t is nothing but the cosine signal. Okay, so this is your basis function phi 1 t. So this is cosine signal. So when 0 appears, there is no phase change. Okay, or it is represented by plus root e. Okay, so it is represented by plus root e when there is a 0. So when 0 is present, we multiply with phi 1 t, which is a cosine signal, and 0 is represented by plus root e. Okay, so there is no change. When there is plus 1, so we have a phase change of pi by 2, and we get a signal like this. Okay, and again when 0 appears, we have a cosine signal. So that means what we are doing a binary phase shift king, or we are simply having a phase shift king of pi by 2 in this, or say a phase shift king of pi or 180 degree. So the difference between these two symbols 0 and 1 is, the phase difference is pi. Okay, the same thing that we have done in binary phase shifting. So if in binary phase shifting I have represented 0 with cos 2 pi fct, I have represented 1 with cos 2 pi fct plus pi or minus cos 2 pi fct. So the same thing we have done here. We have represented 0 with cos 2 pi fct and 1 with minus cos 2 pi fct. Clear this portion, how we are doing it? Any doubt? Any doubt in this portion? Everyone understood? Okay, so I think you people have understood. Okay, okay, fine. So this is how I am representing the odd sequences. Okay. Now to represent the even sequences, what I will do, I will take the even number positions. Okay. So this gives me the even number positions. So this one gives me the even number position 2, 4, 6, and 8. So from 2, 4, 6, 8, what I am getting? I am getting 1 from position 2. From position 4, I am getting 0. You can check this. From position 6, I am getting 0. And from position 8, I am getting 0. So this corresponding to this coefficient of SI2. Okay. So this sequence, so if odd sequence corresponds to SI1 coefficient and even sequence corresponds to SI2 coefficient. Okay. Now what I am doing, I am multiplying SI2 or the even number sequences with basis function phi2. Now basis function phi2 is a sinusoidal signal, so sine 2 pi fct. So similarly, this is since it is 1, so I am representing it with sine 2 pi fct. And to represent 0, I will make it phase shifted by plus pi. So that means again it will be minus sine 2 pi fct. So we have plus sine 2 pi fct and we have minus sine 2 pi fct. Okay. So this is how we are representing 1 and 0 in the odd number sequences and even number sequences. Okay. So individually, I have modulated both these bits. Odd bits I have multiplied with or I have modulated with basis function phi1, and even bits I have modulated with basis function phi2. Now once this is done, once this modulation part is over with two different basis function, now what we'll do, we'll simply add these two sequences. So I will add these two signals, and once I add these two signal, I will get this QPSK signal which represents 0 1. Okay. So this 0 1, I am sending this 0 1, and this is the signal which represents 0 1. Okay. This is the signal which represents 1 0. This is the signal which represents 1 0, and this one represents you 0 0. Okay. So how I'm getting this? I'm getting this by adding these two coefficients. So I simply add these two coefficients and I get this. Now you can ask, sir, how it is possible that we can add these two signals and I'm getting this. Okay, so you can simply do this. If you have a pen and paper, then you can calculate and you can do this and you will get this diagram also. But as we go on increasing the number of bits of transmission, suppose now I want to transmit 3 bit at a time, then it will be impossible to do diagrams like this. Okay, it will be impossible to do diagram like this, and we cannot keep track on. Suppose I want to transmit 256 bit at a time, so how can I draw 256 bits at a time? It is not possible. You cannot even write 256 bits in the paper and then next 256 in the paper, then multiply it with different basis functions and then draw the diagram. It will be not possible. So that's why to represent these die bits, we always use the signal space diagram. Okay. So that is the beauty of signal space diagram, and that is it makes our jobs easier, also to make us understand, okay, these are the bits that I have transmitted and these are the zones where we can recover it. Clear, everyone? Have you understood? If not, please respond. If anyone hasn't understood, you can respond. If also if you have understood, then also you respond. Okay, so everyone else, I think you have understood. Progapon, Sanchita, Somsubro, Subham, Vivek has already said. Karishma, Dibbo, Deepa has said. Diprajit, all of you understood? Okay, fine. Okay, so since I hope you have understood. Now see how we can generate this signal and what should be the block diagram of this. Okay, so I hope this portion is clear to everyone how I am transmitting 2 bits at a time. So this is your block diagram. The block diagram is very similar, but there is a small difference. Okay, so what do we do? So if you remember, we have a binary data sequence, which is of gray code is also a binary in the form of binary only 0 and 1. So we have a binary data sequence. It is then sent to a polar non-return to zero level encoder. So we get a polar NRZ pulses. Then it is sent to demultiplexer. Okay, now what is the job of the demultiplexer? The demultiplexer will send the odd bits here and the even bits here. Okay, so what is the demultiplexer is doing? It is sending odds bits in this part and the even bits in this part. Okay, so we have a1t represents your odd bits, a2t represents your even bits. So I'm multiplying a1t with phi1t and I'm multiplying a2t with basis function phi. Okay, so once we have done this, so that means this the output that we are getting here is a modulated signal, modulated with basis function phi 2, and the output from here we are getting the modulated signal which is modulated by basis function phi 1. Then we add these two signals as we have done in we have seen. We add these two signals and what we get? We get a QPSK signal. Okay, which we transmit. Okay, this is the QPSK signal that we transmit through the channel. Okay, this is what this is the transmitter part of your QPSK signal. Okay, and when you have transmitted it, so I will be now receiving this QPSK signal x of t, which contains noise in it. So to recover it, simply what I will do, I will again send both the signal, send the same signal. That means I will send x of t to both this multiplier, where we will multiply phi 1t with x of t and we will multiply phi 2t with x2t. Okay, and then it will be sent to the correlator, and we will recover only the coefficients si1 in this part, and I will receive the recover the coefficient s21 or s2i in this x2. Why? Because since the coefficient si1 was multiplied with basis function phi 1, so only the basis function phi 1 can recover the signal si1. Similarly, since signal si2 was multiplied with basis function phi 2, so only the basis function phi 2 can recover the signal coefficient si2. This For this we can refer to analog communication. As in modulation, what do you do? You have a local transmitter, local oscillator in receiver side, which generate the same carrier frequency which we have used to modulate these message signal in the transmitter part. So similarly, the carrier frequency which modulates the signal si1 can only recover these signal components of si1. Similarly, the carrier frequency which has modulated si2 can only recover the coefficients of si2. So that's why we multiply both the signals with phi 1 and phi 2, and what we recover is x1 and x2. Okay, now the component which we multiplied with cos 2 pi f ct is known as in phase, and the component which multiply with sine 2 pi f ct is known as quadrature phase. So in phase and quadrature phase, so any signals with multiplied with cos 2 pi f ct is in phase, and this will be quadrature phase. Okay, now so we send the same bits into the decision device, and depending upon it, it can decide whether it is 0 or it is 1. Once it is decided, then again we send to the multiplexer. It again arranges into bitwise manner, and we will get the estimated binary sequence that was transmitted. Clear, everyone? Understood? Have you understood? Everyone understood? Okay, so this is where today's topic ends. If anyone has any question, you may ask, and then we'll end, and I will schedule your test and complete your test by 10:30. Okay. So I hope everyone has understood. So I am ending this meeting since no one has any question. So I am ending this meeting. I will set the question. You can give the exam from 10:20 to 10:30. Okay. So thank you, everyone. Okay, Monojit, tell uh, what is your question? Okay, Manojit, ask what is your question? Multiplexing. Okay, so in multiplexing, now see what we are getting here. We are getting the odd bits here. Okay, so whatever you are estimating here are the odd bits, and whatever you are estimating here are the even bits. Okay, so these are the even bits that you are recovering. These are the odd bits that you are recovering. Since demultiplexer was sorting the odd and even in different parts, so similarly in the receiver part you are recovering odd and even in different parts. Now once you have the odd and even, now you multiplex it. Multiplex it means you are adding it and arranging it into the form of say position number 1, then comes the position number 2, then comes position number 3, then comes position number 4. In this manner you are this is the job of this multiplexer. So it will arrange the odd and even bits in likewise. Okay, so and then you can get the actual binary data that was transmitted. Fine, I hope you have understood. If not, then I'm going to the diagram back. Okay, clear. Okay, so I hope no one has any questions anymore. If you have, you can ask. I will wait for one more minute. Then I will start your. You can go and start your test. Okay, so I think no one has any questions. So I am ending this meeting.